This is a very easy guide how to get the Moonlight Greatsword quickly in Elden Ring and complete all of Ranni's questline steps. This can be done pretty early in the game, meaning you can play the majority of Elden Ring once you've already acquired the Moonlight Greatsword. To start this off early in the game, the only things I've done so far is kill Margit, Godric, and Rennala. So to begin here, we need to go to the Carian Manor, which can be found in the top left corner of Liurnia. And up here, you need to essentially get to the top of this dungeon where you will fight and kill the Knight Loretta. Once she's dead, we're going to start from this side of Grace right here. You're going to leave the center of this room and head out to an area called the Three Sisters. These have 3 different towers that you can go and interact with all of them, but the one we're looking for right now is Rannis Rise, and it's actually just behind the dragon that's going to spawn in front of it. You don't need to fight Adula at all. You can simply run past him and then enter Rannis Rise. Upon getting in here, head to the top. You're going to find an elevator, which will lead you to a staircase taking you directly to Ranni. Now, it's good to get into the habit of pretty much all of the NPCs in this game, that if you go and speak to them, you may as well exhaust all of their dialogue. So once you first encounter Ranni, just click no particular reason when she asks, and then accept to serve Ranni the Witch when she prompts you as well, and then exhaust her dialogue. Once you've done that, go back downstairs in Rannis Rise, and there's going to be 3 different phantoms that you can speak to. Just go ahead and start with Celavis all the way over here near the entrance and exhaust all of his dialogue. After speaking to him, then you can head up the stairs and do the same thing, talk to Blythe, and then go up again and talk to Iji. Exhaust all of their dialogues, and Blythe will say that he's going to find Norcron, the Eternal City. And once this part is done, you can rest at the site of Grace finally, and then move on to the next step. Next, assuming you've accessed the Altus Plateau either through Liurnia or through the Dectus Medallions, you should have access now inside of Caelid over here on the site of Grace, and this teleporter should take you to Redmane Castle, which will then stage you up for the Radahn boss fight. Your next step, if you haven't already, is to kill Radahn. By the time you start this quest, if you've already defeated Radahn, then you can skip to this timestamp right here. But just go through the battle, defeat Star Scourge Radahn, and afterwards a cutscene will play, and after that has rolled, you will then be given a site of Grace, and you should see Blythe standing right next to the Grace. And if done right, you should also see a red mark or a lantern inside of Limgrave just past Fort Height. If you've done that, then you're doing this correctly. All you need to do next is speak to Blythe next to the site of Grace after you've defeated Radahn and exhaust all of his dialogue. He says that he'll be going to Norcron, and after this, you'll know that you're doing it right if you head back to Ranni and she is just sleeping, right? There's no response. From this point, you can go to Fort Height, you can touch the site of Grace here, and then we can start our descent into Norcron, the Eternal City. So that you don't get lost or confused anywhere underground, I'm just going to let you watch the route that will take you where you need to be underground. Once you get here, you're just going to want to head up to the boss gate, and there will be something behind it for you to defeat. And after killing the boss of this area, we're going to go from that site of Grace all the way down this path, and I'm going to show you where to go next because we need to then get the Finger Slayer Blade, which is the treasure in Norcron. And the route to this is actually pretty easy from this, so I'll let that play out as well so that you know where to go. The Finger Slayer blade we're looking for should be just ahead up the stairs underneath this giant sister, and when you open the treasure chest, you'll get the item plus a grave glowwort, and there will be a giant probably coming to kill you. So from this, you can actually take the teleporter just outside of this temple, and this will actually put us exactly where we need to be to unlock the next section. What we're going to have to do next is unlock the deeper section of Shifra and also the deep root depths. So in order to do this, let's start from that site of grace we were just at, and we're going to go backwards this time and into the ancestral woods. So from here, I'm going to show you the routes. We're going to drop down through Shifra, and there's going to be a boss gate that we'll eventually get to, which will be a little bit of a checkpoint for us before getting to the deep root depths. And then kill the boss that you're going to encounter inside of this room and touch the site of grace. Then we're going to head back to Ranni and speak to her. She should wake up now that you have the Finger Slayer blade, and will tell you what she's planning on doing next. Once the Finger Slayer blade is in your possession and you give it to Ranni, she should give you an item called the Carrion Inverted Statue. If she does this, you can actually skip this step if you just want to get the Moonlight Greatsword, but I do recommend doing this part as this unlocks other endings in the game. There's other stuff you're going to find along the way that isn't necessarily vital for the Moonlight Greatsword quest, but I still think is worth doing, and it's pretty easy to get done as well. So if you want to do this step, or if you don't, you can skip to this timestamp, but we need to find the Carrion Study Hall that's actually located over here in Liurnia. So we're going to start from the lake-facing cliffs, like the one you just get to start off in Liurnia, and we're going to head all the way down the right side, and we're going to get to that Carrion Study Hall. It should only take you like a couple of minutes to ride on Torrent there if you don't already have any sites of grace unlocked, but we're going to get to this building, and once you've found yourself at the Carrion Study Hall, we're going to place the newly acquired inverted statue on this podium, which should flip the entire layout of the thing around, you know, making it inverted. And so in order to get where you need to be next can be a little tricky given that this whole building is flipped upside down, but all we really have to do is drop down to this main section here where this person is shooting their bow at you, and then you want to drop down to the chandeliers, and we need to get to a platform underneath these. So you can do a little bit of just dropping down onto these beams, and then if you land on this platform safely, you should be able to step on the center panel, and it will elevator you down to the bottom, or I guess the top. And when you open the door, a cutscene is going to play, and also bear in mind there is an enemy that you will need to fight on this bridge. So defeat that enemy, head all the way to the end, go to the top of the tower, and you will find Ranni's corpse at the top, and the item she is holding is the Curse Mark of Death. This is worth hanging on to, and I do recommend you do it, but if not, you can go back to where we defeated that boss in Shifra, and in that site of grace, there should be a tomb in front of you that you can go in and teleport to the deep root depths. As I alluded to earlier, there's a lot to do down here, but if you're strictly going after the Moonlight Greatsword, then just follow the very easy route I go for with a couple of more tombs along the way. Once you go through that second tomb, you should come out at the Ainzel River main, and on top of this tomb right here is going to be a miniature statue of Ranni. Head right up to the grace in front of it and rest at it. It should give you the option to speak to the miniature Ranni, and the first couple of times you do it, she's not going to say anything, but eventually she will start speaking and tell you that you need to destroy a baleful shadow. Once she's exhausted her dialogue, that should be the trigger for the next part, which requires us to run all the way down to another even deeper part of this area, and I'll show you the route to get there, which you should encounter your baleful shadow. Once you get past this area, the world should look a lot different. You should see this in front of you and the baleful shadow of Blythe in front of you. Go ahead and take him out, and you should get some more dialogue from Ranni. After her dialogue is over, you'll know you're doing it right if you get an item called the Deserted Palace Key. Now, this is going to be important a little bit later, but before we use this key, we may as well go all the way down here into the Lake of Rot area. We're going to hit this site of grace, and then we're going to need to sprint all the way across the lake to the other side, which is the temple. Takes a little while to get there, I won't lie. Get across this lake and take as many heals or boluses to cure the Scarlet Rot that you will inevitably come out the other side with, and once you've made it to the temple, go and touch this site of grace, which is another important one. Once we've hit this here, we can actually teleport back to where Rennala is, the Grand Library of Raya Lucaria, and once we get here, we can use the Deserted Palace Key on the chest that's inside that room that is otherwise locked, which should be just behind her, and when you open this chest, you'll be given the Darkmoon ring, which we'll need for another step. Once you have the Darkmoon ring, let's go back to that site of grace and the Grand Cloister where we were at, and I'm going to show you how to get to the next tomb. Now, there are some very good weapons down here. I will say, like, maybe if you have time to explore, I would definitely check this place out, but if you're just trying to get to the Greatsword, then head all the way over here to the left, and there should be the final tomb waiting for you. Hop in here, cutscene will play, it'll spit you out inside of this cave, and then defeat the boss behind this fog wall that it's going to give you. Once that boss is dead, we can then go behind the site of grace, and this new wall should be opened. Now, if you don't have the Darkmoon ring that we just picked up, you won't be able to enter this area. So if you've made it this far, then you have all of the proper items you need. Head all the way up to the Moonlight Altar after getting on the lift in that section, and then we're going to go all the way up to the Church of Manus Celis. From here, there should be a hole in the ground on the right side of the grace that will allow us to drop down and safely get to the bottom, and once you get to the end of the tunnel, you should see the finale of Ranni's quest. You'll see the two fingers, you'll see them dead, and you'll see Ranni. So go ahead and speak to her, give her the ring, and then after some dialogue is exhausted, she will disappear, and if you've done this right, her mist will, dissipate, and then an item will appear in front of you, giving you the Darkmoon Greatsword. Thank you guys for watching. I want to keep this short and sweet. I hope this helped. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you later.